Oh my goodness, it's Sunday night and this is Sunday night service and this is not Dr. Motley. This is Vicki Warren. Holy cow. We have Vicki Warren in the house, literally in my house tonight, which is what an honor. So those of you who don't know Vicki, she is a world famous electrical engineer. Well, she's been on Dr. McCullough multiple times. So, you know, talking about the dangers of electromagnetic fields and radiation and all these things. So thank you. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. I do. And so you guys, as you get logged on, and boy, you guys are popping on quickly, I can see tonight. As you get logged on, hit your like buttons, hit your heart buttons, tell us where you're from, and also post your questions up, okay? Because I'm going to be logging on here as well, and I'll read your questions, and then we can also answer those later. But tell us where you're from and talk to us the whole time we're on here. Vicki, they're like piling up like crazy on here. So did you know, last week we had the highest viewer Facebook Live that we'd ever had, talking about electromagnetic fields. This is a really serious, hot topic subject right now. And for you guys, I shared last week, you know, we have more cell phones than we do humans in the United States. And I asked her, I said, do you think that's true? She said, yes. And very soon we're going to have more antennas than we have humans in the United States. Unbelievable. Tonight we're talking about, is your home making you sick? Right?
Now be careful about that.
Is your bedroom making you sick?
None of what we're really going to talk about is if something is actually making you sick.
Okay.
What we're looking for is your home health sustaining?
Okay. There we go. Okay.
There's, you know, you got to be real touchy in this fine line. Does electromagnetic radiation cause problems? And the only link is the one, and that is the link from what's called a magnetic field to childhood leukemia and possibly to adult cancer.
Okay.
That's the only one where there's actually a causal link that's been proven. The rest of it is it health supporting?
Okay.
Or is it something that could potentially interfere with something else you're trying to do?
Okay, perfect. See, I love her because I have no idea. So apparently, and I got this right off of her website, we spend about 90% of our time indoors.
Indoors or in cars or in some kind of vehicle of some type, yeah.
Okay. And 65% of our buildings, the Environmental Protection Agency says, are polluted. Sometimes as much as 6 to 10 times.
More so than outside.
More so than city pollution.
Yeah,
right?
More so than outside.
Isn't that something? And then as well, we compound these health risks by adding several sources of man-made electromagnetic radiation.
Right.
Correct? Am I right? Okay. So it's estimated that 72% of cancers, as well as the increase in asthma and allergies among children, could be linked to our environments.
Right.
Right.
Now, that's more than just the electromagnetic environment.
Right.
Yes.
That's our environment. Doesn't include, you know, the things like behavioral things we're seeing, ADD, ADHD, things like that, and neurological disorders as well. So Vicki is an electrical engineer. You were the executive director at Bow Biological. Is that right?
Bow Biology.
Bow Biology.
In fact, that's where I got my training and certification through them. Now,
wow.
A quick disclaimer here. Most of the research and things I'm going to talk about tonight are things that I've had the privilege of other people telling me or that I've read in books. I've never done a whole lot of this research. In fact, I've never done any of the biological research at all.
Okay.
So I'm just going to report on what I have read or has been reported to me. I'm not the expert on that. I'm just simply trying to break it down to make some sense out of it for you.
Yeah, and make some sense out of it is what you have to do, because I mean it's overwhelming. We're going to talk about, I hope we're going to talk about a little bit about 5G. Okay, because that's a big thing right now. You know, and last week I mentioned baby monitors causing a problem, and that caused all kinds of a storm, as did the hair dryers as well, you know, and things like that. Wi-Fi in the hotels. I mean, all of those things. So we're gonna start to unpack it a little bit, and I can't stand that term, but we're gonna start to tease it out. As you can see back behind me in my kitchen here, which is our lovely Sunday night service studio, we have all kinds of things going on here and all kinds of electrical. Can you see that? Yeah. So we're going to get started. We're going to talk about airplanes. We're going to talk about all kinds of things tonight.
Yeah. First, can I borrow your book here?
Oh, yeah.
Over here? Let me do a shout out real quick. Here's a friend of mine that wrote a couple of books, and one of them is Allison Wilson. And Allison Wilson, this book tells you basically about issues and how to limit your exposure to cell phones. But this is the book that if you're really into this stuff, this is huge. This is all of the, sorry, wrong book. I should get the right one up. Peer-reviewed studies.
It's this one.
It's
It's this one because that's the one you gave me
Yeah.
2 years ago.
This is all the peer-reviewed studies, the hundreds and thousands of studies around the world that have shown that there is a biological impact from this stuff.
It's unbelievable. So I won this book when Vicki came and talked to our Hashimoto support group meeting. We're so blessed to have her. She's in our area here. And so she came and did this presentation, and I won this book, and it took me 1.5 years to read it because I didn't know. And it is fascinating. And then I just ordered this one, which I think this one was the first one.
Yeah, that's the first one. And this one basically tells you what you should do
Yes.
if you want to use a phone. And this
Yes.
one over here tells you the why, because it's all the research that's there.
Unbelievable. Go online, order these, both of these.
But the point is, I've got stacks of books here.
Yes, she
from
does.
all sorts of things where people, since, by the way, this started, we learned that electricity was bad for us 20 years after electricity was developed.
What?
So we've known about it since the mid 1800s, just in case y'all are curious. It is not new. It is something we have known about. People will say, well, how come I've never heard of it? Well, possibly, and again, this is an anecdotal story here. Dr. Rife developed a electromagnetic instrument to measure the frequency of individuals who had cancer.
Okay.
And this is RIFE, and you can do all the research. And he actually had 100% cure rate from cancer by actually addressing all of that, and we're exposing people to the right frequencies.
Rife, as in the Rife machine?
Exactly.
Man? Oh, wow.
All right. But unfortunately, what happened with that was he tried to sell it to the pharmaceutical companies, but there wasn't enough money in it because the money comes from continued disease.
Correct. And
All right.
when you cure something.
And when you cure something, then there's no longer money.
Oh, yes.
And so, unfortunately, his place was broken into. All of the plans were stolen, and all of this went away. Of course, not, again, you can research this stuff, and there are people all over the world that are doing research on it. And I've had some privilege in meeting some of the individuals developing different machines around the world that deal with this whole thing. But here's the problem, Dani. All right. Let's say that you've got an individual who's allergic to peanuts. Okay. So you tell that person to go on a gluten-free diet because gluten-free cures everything. Right?
Right.
But the allergy is to peanuts.
It's to be, right.
Right? Or somebody that needs a gluten-free diet, all right, and you tell them to stay away from peanuts. And that's why people are getting confused with this whole thing. Because I may think of radio stations. I may be allergic to 99.7.
Right.
All right. You may be allergic to 104.5. Okay. We just don't know. So if I tell you stay away from 99.7 because it made me better.
Right. Right.
That won't do a thing for you.
Okay. Correct. That's right. That's right. That's why it's individual.
And that's not only as an individual, we're talking an entire gamut. And let me just show you what we're talking about when it comes to electrosmog.
Okay, I'm going to move this around here so y'all can see. I'm actually having to move my computer. So, okay, what are we going to?
So this is all of the electrosmog. So it starts and it covers everything from very, very low frequency all the way up to the big ones. So if I develop a product that fixes this little band right here, because I know you're allergic to it, so I'm not going to expose it to you, I could say, look, I took care of your electromagnetic problem.
Right.
But it may be that you're really allergic to this one. So no product out there measures everything, and no product takes care of everything.
Takes care of everything. Okay.
The best we can do is limit our exposure to all of it.
Okay.
Because we know that works.
All right.
If we can eliminate it.
If we can eliminate it and limit. Limit and eliminate. Okay. All right.
So,
what else do we got? All right.
All right. Now we're going to go up here. So this is I'm a physics teacher, so bear with me, people. What we're talking about is two things. One is frequency. And frequency is how fast does a signal go up and down.
Okay.
And it's usually measured in what's called hertz, which is the number of times it goes from here to here in a second.
Okay.
So like 60 hertz would be 60 of these in a second.
In a second. Okay. So see, I didn't know that. I mean, I don't know that. Do most people not know that, or am I just
No,
a
most
total
people
idiot?
don't know that.
Okay.
If you'd been in my physics class, you would have got it. Come on.
Okay. So how often it goes from there to there in 1 minute?
Second.
Oh, 1 second.
Right.
Okay.
Right. That's one side of it. So what this is basically speed, or what's called frequency.
Okay.
How frequent it does it.
Okay.
The second issue is magnitude.
Okay.
And magnitude is how big is it?
Okay.
So, because it can go
How
60
big?
times a second and be really, really, really small.
Okay.
Or it can go 60 times a second and be huge.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Now, people get these confused all the time because they think that something that's a high frequency has more energy.
Okay.
And that's not true. Because it could be going up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down a lot, but be real low magnitude.
Okay. Okay.
So there are such magnitudes. You can set it back down now.
Okay.
That's enough for my physics lesson.
Okay, there we go. Well, I didn't even know that, so there we go.
The problem gets into is what's healthy for our body,
Okay.
right?
Correct.
Now, the cells in our body vibrate at different frequencies.
Okay.
Now, most of the cells, and I've got a little chart here
Okay.
that I just printed it offline. So
And we can actually hold it up, and if you want to snap a picture of it with your cell phone, those of you that are watching online, you can do that too.
And this is pardon me if I mispronounce this because I'm not sure. It's Neo Technology Institute.
I don't know where that is.
Anyway, this is what he
so
says.
take a picture.
Here,
Bring
you
it
want
up
to hold
a
it?
bit more. Yeah, there we go.
So he's basically saying that this is the normal, frequency of the human bodies. Okay, and you'll notice it runs around. You'll have to hand it back to me for me to see it.
Okay, so take a picture. I hope y'all took a picture. If not, we'll put it up later.
60 to 68 hertz for a healthy person.
Okay.
If it's greater than 60 hertz, then that's good for good bacteria.
Okay.
And then it starts going down. If it's less than 62 hertz, then the cells start to mutate. You get sickness. The person can have a cold, which of course I have. So there you go. 58 hertz all the way down till you have 0 hertz, and that means you're dead. Because you're not vibrating anymore, right?
Yeah, okay. So a healthy person vibrates or has 60 to 68 hertz.
Right.
Okay.
Now
how do we know that? How do we measure that?
That's actually measured with various frequency devices that people hold in their hands.
Okay.
All right. And when they hold in the hands and they can measure what the frequency is, the signal that they're putting out.
Okay.
Now these are real low magnitude.
Magnitude. So they're not tall.
Right. Exactly.
Guys,
She's got
I'm
it
not
now.
an
She's passing
idiot.
physics.
I'm not an idiot, but I have to break it down to where I can understand stuff. So they're not very tall. Okay, I get it. I got it. Okay.
All right. And this is also from the same site, or that I got the other one from. And this talks about the frequencies that are particularly associated with various organs.
Okay. All right. I'm going to hold this up and you guys take a picture of this. Okay. There we go. Right there. That's good. Snap it. Got it.
Now, there seems to be some misunderstanding because when I was doing a lot of research on this, some people use megahertz instead of hertz.
Which are totally different.
Totally different.
Hertz,
it's a million
megahertz is a million times
faster vibrations.
Faster vibrations.
So
not bigger magnitude.
No, it'd be 60 million times
per
second.
Yeah. Okay.
And biologically, the tests and all of that don't support that.
Okay.
So I honestly believe it's hertz, and I think that's just a misprint that people are using.
Okay.
Okay. Now, just to let you know, this is the brain activity one.
Oh, goodness. Okay. Look at this.
So brain activity, we're talking about different stages of sleep. Less than 4 hertz basically is when you're in your deep sleep or your delta sleep.
Okay.
And then 4 to 7 means you're relaxed. 7 to 14 means it's alpha, which means you're sort of relaxed. Your mind's not doing anything. I think that's, most of us are, at least most teenagers. Anyway. And then you have the beta waves, which is the normal state.
Okay.
And then gamma waves, which are a little bit higher than that.
Okay.
Now, my point is all of this typically means that biological exposure to things above 150 hertz tend not to have a biological impact. Okay?
Okay.
So a normal cell phone, for example,
Okay.
there's
Right
two
here.
ways it can damage you.
There we go. Okay.
One is by the heat,
Okay.
and that's called the specific absorption ratio, or the SAR.
The SAR.
Right.
Okay.
It's the SAR.
Okay. So I actually saw that when I was looking at the legal portion of this, and I didn't know what that meant.
Yeah.
Okay.
That means if you take a piece of tissue, and it's either 1 gram or 10 grams, according to how they measured it, and you expose it to that device, it can't heat the tissue up to so much. They're
Okay.
limited.
So we're right here.
That's it. That's a thermal issue, okay? That's the only thing that's regulated. And that is the SAR has to be kept below a certain level,
Okay.
okay?
So that's heating tissue.
That's heating tissue.
Okay.
The actual cell phones operate at a very high frequency, up in the megahertz range. And the actual phone itself, I mean, as far as the connection to the tower, doesn't impact the human
Okay.
until it transmits data.
Data.
So if
Okay.
you're talking on it, if you're streaming on it, if you're doing this is what we're doing,
Facebook Live
Yep.
watching.
then
Okay.
there's a secondary frequency that's within the biological frequency.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
Got it.
So if I'm a telecommunications person, I can take the cell phone and I can tie it to every, I'm sorry if you're an animal activist, but I can tie it to every rat's head I want to and test it, and the rat will be perfectly fine, right?
Yes.
Until I start putting data on it.
Until we go live on Facebook Live.
And
Right.
you should have seen them back in the 90s trying to get rats to talk on cell phones.
Vicki.
But they literally taped these to rats, poor little rats, to their
They
heads. Yep. And
A cell phone.
and started transmitting data to them, and every one of them got sick.
Oh no.
But the cell phone companies will tell you there's no biological hazard because it doesn't cook your skin enough for the SAR.
Right.
Remember?
Right.
Except, of course, all of the cell phone companies will tell you make sure you hold it away from your head at least a quarter of an inch.
That's right.
Okay.
And it says that
Yeah.
on there because you taught me that.
If you hold it away from a quarter of an inch, then you're not going to microwave your skin. But the problem is once you start transmitting data, then you'll get the tingling effect.
Yes.
You'll have the brain tumors that are associated with cell phones. Robert Kennedy's, for example. I mean, not Ted Kennedy's. Ted Kennedy's brain tumor. McCain's.
What about McCain? That's what I was going to say. I wonder about
brain tumor.
McCain's brain tumor.
All of these that are associated with the type of brain tumor they are have been linked to the use of cell phones.
Are those the glioblastomas?
Yeah.
Oh.
And the way they grow, there's no way they would grow except from because they grow from external exposure. So anyway, having said all that. So the problem then gets to, oh my gosh, what do we do? All right, because the world is just, think of it this way. I'm going to turn the lights off because I'm going to show you something.
So this is interactive tonight, guys. So just bear with us because I don't have a studio here. It's a computer and a kitchen.
Okay.
All right, look here.
So this is, imagine you're here, and this is all the stuff that's around you. We call it electrosmog.
Electrosmog.
Yeah. And so if that's here, the problem is once I get close to it, it's all going to come to me.
Okay, look at that. Did you see that? Or can you all see that? If you can see that, hit your heart buttons. Yes. Okay. Well, or your big, oh my gosh, faces. Yes.
So
Okay.
because I'm standing in this environment, this electricity that's trapped in the glass is just like the electricity that I'm standing in, but I just can't see it.
Okay.
And so if I reach this.
Oh my gosh. Look at that following you.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
100% following you wherever you go.
So, and actually there are a lot of people that are electrically hypersensitive. Now in the US, we say it's about 3%.
Yeah.
In Sweden, they think it's about 10%.
Wow.
I think there's more. I just don't think we know.
Wow.
But people can walk up and touch this and actually feel it.
Yeah, I can't feel it. I can feel the heat, but I can't feel the vibration.
Yeah.
But look at that. Yeah, all over me there.
So that's the
Looks like my
problem.
hair. Okay.
But that's the environment. Think of all of this stuff around, vibrating at all these frequencies. Now, And I don't do this to scare you. I'm trying to help you figure out where to go from here.
I totally understand that, guys. So we're not trying to scare you, make you go off the deep end over here and throw everything away and all of that. But you do need to be educated. I am a huge believer. When you know better, you have to do better.
The two things that I want to address the most,
Okay.
all right, are babies
Yes.
and where you sleep.
Okay.
Okay. Because we've learned over the years that if you can create a sleeping sanctuary, and because babies sleep so much, then
Yes.
obviously that's 24/7,
Yes.
is to create an environment that has the least amount of exposure in
Yes.
the sleeping environment.
You bet.
Okay.
You bet.
Because it's at night, and you can address this better than I can because I know nothing about medical. I can tell you how electricity works, but nothing about medical.
Where your body heals at night.
Yeah, that's
right?
when the organs detoxify.
You bet. That's when you detoxify. That's when you make glutathione, the master antioxidant, right?
Yeah.
The one that mops up all the free radicals, which free radicals are good, but too many create a problem.
So what we want is on our cells, there is a vibratory receptor that's on the surface of the cell membranes. And Dr. Motley and Dani talked about this last week when they talked about the calcium channels.
Yeah.
Okay. And the calcium channels are affected by electricity, but these vibratory receptors are also affected.
So receptors are like the keyhole. For those of you who don't know, receptors on a cell are like the keyhole, right? That the whatever goes into.
And the toxins come out.
Yes, that is correct. So you got to have, we have receptors on our cells for all kinds of things. All kinds of things, you know, iodine, all kinds of things. But yes. Okay.
And there are two types. There's the chemical receptors.
Okay.
That are looking for, as you said, the iodine and all of that that's in between the cells or the interstitial.
Right.
And they'll lock in and transport that way. But there's also the vibratory receptors, which open the ion channels.
Okay. See, I don't know about that.
So when I showed you earlier about the frequencies,
yes,
those receptors respond to those particular frequencies.
Okay.
So like the stomach has a specific frequency that it responds to, 80, 58 to 65 hertz. And that's the frequency that the cells on the stomach lining respond to
keep it healthy.
Yep.
To keep it healthy. So if it goes above that, then we've got problems.
Or below that.
Or below that.
Yep.
How do you go below it?
Well,
that may be a whole nother talk.
It could be, but I mean, things like picking up a cup of coffee. Coffee will lower it, and exposure to some products will actually lower it. Think of us as being big tuning forks. That's the best way.
Okay.
So if we wrap ourselves in something that's vibrating at a weird frequency, right, then our body starts vibrating at that frequency.
Okay.
If it's and anybody who does Reiki, massage therapist, acupuncturists, all of these people are experts on the energy flow.
Okay.
And they all know this. They can feel the frequency vibration in their hands.
Right.
Right. Those of you that are into church and prayer, we can actually measure the frequency of people when they're praying.
Wow.
And that can actually be measured in what frequency that is.
Or meditating, I bet.
And meditating, it all fits into this realm.
Okay.
So all of this, what it does is if these cells see a frequency that's foreign to them, you know, something that doesn't make any sense or a magnitude that then they go into what's called oxidative stress.
Okay.
And these channels will shut down because the cells think they're under attack.
Okay. Wow.
So when they get under attack, then if you're sleeping in that,
yes,
guess what? Nothing detoxifies.
No. And you just accumulate oxidative stress and disease, and your body doesn't detox and your liver doesn't function properly. And we get into this whole chronic disease problem.
And if the cell stays there because it's chronic exposure, then when it divides, the daughter cells think that that's normal.
And so they multiply.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But the good news.
Okay. Yeah. Let's give us some good news. People are freaking out over here. It's so funny reading this.
If you can create a sleeping sanctuary,
yes,
then your body recovers.
Yes.
Because what's a typical cell life? How long is it?
Oh, gosh, I don't know. 30 days? I don't know.
No, I've actually heard 18 months.
Oh, 18 months?
18 months for a cell to
go. Cell life?
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you can detoxify your environment when you're sleeping, then your cells will recover.
Yes.
then your body will respond to whatever treatment you're undergoing.
So in 18 months, you could have a whole new body, whole new cell structure.
So, but I don't hold me to that again.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. We'll have to look that up. What's the cell like? Okay. Okay.
And it may be different for different cells. I mean, obviously, we know the reproductive organs are the ones that regenerate the fastest.
You bet.
So they're the ones that are most at risk for problems.
Okay.
So anyway, how do I create a sleeping sanctuary?
How do we do it?
There are 4 biggies
that
we deal with in this world. Now, again, I told you that no instrument will measure all of them.
Right.
Okay. So it takes different instruments to measure it. And even though, let's say I want to sell you something, so I'm going to sell you a device that's going to protect you. And I can show you by giving you that device, and with my instrument, I can show you it protects you. Because I'm only measuring that particular thing.
That's right.
And that would, again, back to our radio stations. I may be able to block 104.7 so that you're fine, but 99.2 is still out there.
Okay. Got it.
So think of it this way. I've heard of people going into bars. Okay. I'm teasing, but anyway, and they're loud and they're noisy and everything is going on. Right. And it just gives you this blistering headache.
Right.
Okay. And that may be what your bedroom's like. Okay. There's so much noise, you get this headache. Well, if you turn off the noise in the bedroom, right?
Yes.
And all of a sudden you feel better.
Right.
So that's like some of these devices. But then there's that one pesky mosquito.
Just all night long.
Exactly.
Yep.
But the mosquito was there before you turned the noise off.
Sure.
You just couldn't hear it.
You just couldn't hear it. Right.
And that's kind of my problem with these devices that claim they cure everything.
Right.
They may block the noise, but there's still something else. And that may be the issue. And it may be that mosquito that's going to give you Lyme's disease that's the worst problem and not the noise. We don't know.
Yeah, right.
And so devices that claim they do everything, they don't. The only thing that we know works definitively for everyone is get rid of it, shield it, or move away from it.
Okay.
And moving away, not moving to a different home, but moving away from the source.
Okay.
All right.
Which we proved in my bedroom tonight, and I'll share with you all later on moving to another source, moving to the just another part of the bedroom. Yeah, we're fine.
Okay.
We're fine. Guys, if we run over, you're welcome to log off or get out and all of that, but I don't know how long this is going to last. So if you're fine going forward, just keep hitting the heart button. We're good.
Okay. So we're going to start with one. It's called a geopathic stress zone. All right.
Okay. Geopathic stress zone.
Geopathic. Let's
Never
break
even
it down.
heard of it. Okay. Break it down. Come on.
Geo means earth.
Okay. Yep. It does.
Pathos means disease.
Yep. It sure does.
Okay. So it's an earth causing stress zone.
Okay.
So an earth disease causing.
Okay.
Now, you've actually heard of it.
I have.
Yep.
Okay.
Because you've heard of people that have doused for issues. Where they've measured that there are meridians in the earth, and we all know the earth is a big magnetic field, right?
Yes. Yes.
And that there are meridians in the earth that run longitudinally north to south, latitudinally east to west, right?
Right.
And then we know there are bad places where there's underground water fissures and oil and all of this other stuff, right?
Yes.
You've heard of that.
Yes, I have.
If you're sleeping above an intersection of these, you're sick.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Now, there are people out there that can douse for it. You know, like, seriously, folks, you think I'm nuts.
Like a water witch.
They can
My grandmother called it a water witch.
It's a water witch. It's the same people
And
that are out looking for. So you call your local well drillers and tell them to come douse your house for water. And no, but seriously, these are the people that can do this. Okay. And they'll probably bring something more sophisticated. They'll probably bring dowsing rods. I'm coming back.
Oh, you are? Okay.
They'll probably bring something so sophisticated as a dowsing rod that looks like this. All right.
That's what my grandmother used to hold.
Yeah. Some of them will make it out of coat hangers and things like that. But everybody can do it.
Hold that up again.
Okay.
So what happens if something?
What you're looking for is when they cross. Oh, look. Isn't
that
that
interesting? What does that mean?
And it's where they cross, actually, that means that you're in an area that there's a problem. So this
We're sitting at a problem.
So
is it because we have all this going on?
No, this is all underground. This has nothing to do. Again, remember the whole spectrum over here. We're not measuring cell phones. We're not measuring computers. We're not measuring any of that. This is all measuring geopathic stress.
Okay, earth disease stress. Okay.
Yeah, that's what it is.
So I'm sitting on top of one, guys.
So this isn't so where you want to sleep.
No, I'm not. Yeah, it's the kitchen, by the way, and it's over here by the refrigerator. And okay.
Now, my husband and I have this standing joke because cats will go look for these geopathic stress zones.
Okay.
Because they like them.
Okay.
Dogs can't stand them.
Harlan. Hey, Harlan. What do you think? Look, he's like totally paralyzed over here standing here. So, yeah, okay.
So
really? So the cats will lay on top of things like this and the dogs will move away.
So if a cat sleeps with you, it's not necessarily a good thing.
Because it means they're attracted to some sort of stressor.
You got it.
Wow.
We think it relates to something in the, that they purr and that they want this external magnetic field sort of thing that goes on. But our standing joke is when we see people in parking lots with signs that say free kittens, we want to put up a sign that says free geopathic stress zone monitor.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, so they'll find it for you.
Yeah.
If you're not a cat person, become a cat person. Okay.
Plants don't grow. Ants are attracted to it. Mold grows like crazy. Mildew grows like crazy. Bacteria grows like crazy. Babies will avoid it. So if you've got a baby in a crib that tosses and turns and wants to go all the way around, move the crib because it may be that they're in one of these zones.
Oh my gosh. I had no idea.
So big problem. In fact, it's very linked. It doesn't, remember, this isn't causal. I'm not talking about anything that's being causal, but it is linked to cancer. Now, the good thing about geopathic stress zones is if you find somebody that can actually measure it, they know what they're doing.
Okay.
They can jump them around your house. They can put crystals in. Crystals will deflect them and change the direction of them. Some people will drive stakes in to make them move.
I've never heard of anything like this in my life. This is great.
So all of these can be done. And this is the Earth's natural magnetic field. The Earth's
natural magnetic field. I mean, this is nothing. And you wouldn't know this if you built a house on top of it. I mean, most people don't go looking for this before they buy a house or build a house.
True. They don't.
Well, I didn't. I've been sitting on top of a hotbed apparently for 5 years.
But you're not sleeping here, remember?
No, I'm not sleeping here, but we're going to take those little sticks and go back to my bedroom and see just how bad it is.
But,
okay.
But the thing is people who are sensitive, which I'm sure some of you, because you have some sort of, if you have some sort of autoimmune disease or any of this other, odds are you're also electrically hypersensitive. The two tend to go together. You know it. You just don't know why. But you go to an area and you're just uncomfortable.
Yeah.
People have called me and said, we want to buy a house. Will you come check it for geopathic stress zones? And I'll tell them, this sounds awful because I know this, it just sounds said, take your kids over there and have a picnic and go around the house and let your kids tell you if they're uncomfortable. Because if your kids, if they tell you that they're uncomfortable, all right, there's a reason for it usually.
Wow.
Take your dog. And if your dog runs, then we got a problem. But if,
Think of how these kids act in these classrooms with all of this going on.
Yeah, that may or may not be the geopathic stress zone. That may be due to something else. But yeah.
Okay, so.
But our bodies can tell us, and that's why I say.
If you listen to your body, that's the thing. So many people are so out of tune with their body.
Yeah. Try to go into meditation. Try to, without your cell phone plugged to your ear. All right, turn your cell phones off. Go sit in a lot that you're going to buy. Go sit in a house before you buy it. Sit and see if you can actually relax.
Wow.
Because you may be allergic to the house.
Did you hear that, people? Before you buy a house or build a house.
Or if you're having trouble sleeping.
Yes.
This may be it. I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying these are the possibilities.
These are things to think about. That's exactly right. There's not one silver bullet for everything. And I think that you have to look at all the options. And this is a huge piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
What we're talking about tonight. Huge piece of the puzzle. The gut, in my opinion, is key, right? You heal the gut. You begin to heal about 70, 80% of everything else, but you've got to think about these things. And these are the things people don't think about.
And you can't necessarily heal the gut if it's constantly exposed to something that aggravates it.
Wow. Fascinating.
So again, the issue is make sure you're not sleeping in it.
Okay.
I'm not saying panic because you're going to walk through it or it's in your kitchen or whatever it is. Don't worry about that. Make sure you're not sleeping in it.
Okay.
I will point out, though, one thing is if you're in a geopathic stress zone and you have nice, good, organic herbs, they will take on the vibration of the geopathic stress zone.
Really?
Because they will start vibrating at the same frequency.
The herbs will.
And so will essential oils, and so will anything else.
Gosh, I had no idea.
Because they're natural.
Yeah. I just want y'all to know that Vanderbilt did not teach me one thing about any of this. And it wouldn't matter if I went to Vanderbilt, Murray State, TSU, UT, wherever. They don't teach you these things. And it is such a huge part of whole body health.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Okay.
All right.
So we have geopathic stress zones.
All right.
And actually, Janetta's on here tonight. She's on Wings of Eagles Healthy Living, and she's commenting. Janetta is one of
It's my colleague.
It's her colleague, and they have Wings of Eagles.
She knows everything. Ask her everything.
So she's actually commenting on here, and if you see Wings of Eagle Healthy Living commenting, you know that they know what they're talking about. So she actually broke down geostress and all that on there as well.
Oh, thanks.
So thanks, Janetta.
Send him to Roth's website.
Okay, so now what are we doing?
Okay, the second thing I want to talk about is magnetic fields.
Okay, so we talked about geopathic stress zones,
Yep.
right? That's under the earth, in the earth, down in the earth. Those are your natural zones that are in the earth.
Yep.
I mean, we can't control that.
No, you
You
can't.
can control where you build or buy, but you can't control that they're there. We can't move them.
But there are people that can.
Can move them?
Yeah, as I said, crystals.
Oh,
placement
yeah,
of
yeah,
crystals
yeah,
can
yeah,
move
yeah.
them.
Okay, yes,
And
yes.
there are people that can use rods
Yes.
and that they can move them.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Now what?
So, but I want to caution you: if you hire somebody that's going to move them, hire somebody else to come test to make sure they're moved.
How do we even find somebody to do this though? Because there's a bunch of hocus pocus out there.
Yeah, isn't that fun? It's kind of like the medical industry.
Yeah. Wow. Listen to her. Lean in here. You're getting out. Scoot over towards me.
No. You're
There we go.
electric. I know. But
Yeah, she's already tested me. I'm like full of electricity. Now we know why my hair looks like this. I'm one electric hotbed. Okay.
Okay, moving right along. The second big one I want to talk about.
Okay.
And this is down in the extremely low frequency band. Now, this is a test. How many of you remember what the body frequency is for a healthy body? This is a test. Do you remember?
60. Is
Hey,
that right?
there you go.
Am I right?
It's actually 60.
Oh, look at me hold my hand up.
I got it.
60 hertz?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's 62 to 68 hertz.
Okay, 62 to 68. Okay.
Okay. That's where the healthy body is.
Okay.
Now, if you notice that some of the others here, and we'll go back to look at this so that you can cheat here.
Okay.
You'll notice like the lungs are 58 to 65 and the liver is
Okay.
55 to 60, and this is all where all this stuff is.
Okay.
For some brilliant reason, when the founders of electricity, we can thank Edison for this,
Okay.
decided at what frequency they needed to make electricity in the United States, well, all of the Western Hemisphere, they decided it needed to vibrate at 60 hertz. So every electrical plug that you have in your house is 60 hertz.
Did they know we were 60?
No,
They didn't.
no.
Isn't that interesting?
So they're all 60.
Okay.
Isn't that nice?
So the plugs are all 60.
Yep. And
Okay.
much higher magnitude than our little bitty bodies are. So much higher, taller.
They're taller.
I'll get it in a language you understand.
Thank you.
Taller.
Thank you. She has to dumb it down for me, man. Remember, I'm the common sense
Higher
practical
dose.
provider. So, okay.
So what's coming out of the walls and then out of the plugs and all that stuff is at the same frequency that the body is, but at much higher magnitude.
Okay.
Now,
Okay.
one of the interesting things to find out is a healthy body is 62 to 68,
Yes.
but unhealthy starts when we lose 2 hertz. So that means 60 hertz.
Oh.
So think of us as tuning forks again,
Okay.
right? So we're this tuning fork and we're in this big environment running at 60 hertz. Well, our cells understand that because that's our natural frequency.
Sure.
And they start vibrating, but they want to vibrate at a much higher magnitude because that's what they're exposed to. So there are two things that we measure at that frequency, which is the 60 hertz, which is in the biological range, that we know cause problems. One of them is called a magnetic field.
Okay.
Magnetic fields have actually been linked to childhood leukemia and adult cancer. It's what y'all talked about last week when you were talking about the class 2 carcinogen.
Yes.
That's the magnetic field at 60 hertz.
Okay.
That's not cell phones.
Okay.
All right. That's not geopathic stress zones.
Okay.
Remember, those are all different things.
Right.
This is magnetic fields at 60 hertz.
Okay.
Now, where do those come from?
Yeah, where do those come from?
Refrigerators,
Okay.
circuit breaker panels,
Okay.
any device that you plug in that's a charger.
Okay.
So the little black box or white box that you plug in,
Yep.
okay?
Yep.
The actual change in electronics on a television, that's all part of the 60 hertz magnetic field,
Okay.
okay? Bad wiring in a home. Let's say you've had landscape lights put up, pools, spas, and somebody who came in and wired your home didn't do it correctly.
Okay.
Now, the worst case scenario, and this is something you said you read on Dr. Mercola, is if your neighbor has bad wiring,
Yes.
then it comes through the plumbing, which comes into your house, so you can have problems in your house because of your neighbor. Don't sleep in it.
Okay.
How do you find it?
Yes.
Right.
How do you find it?
Well, you want to use what's called a Gauss meter.
Gauss.
Yep.
Correct?
That's it.
Gauss meter.
And you can go on some website and find it, Amazon if you want to.
Yeah.
And any of them that they sell there, it works. And you'll quite often find them as ghost detectors. Because this is the same thing that ghost hunters are looking for, are these high magnetic fields.
Those fields.
Because the belief is that energy-bound spirits, because remember the body runs at this frequency.
60.
Yep. Energy-bound spirits are hung up because they're attracted like magnets into this magnetic field.
That's fascinating.
So here is a Gauss meter.
Hold it up there. Okay.
And this is what we measured Dani's bedroom with.
You all haven't seen the video. We've got a video. I have a video to share of this experience.
Now, from bomb biology standards, which means healthy buildings, and again, these aren't buildings that are making you sick more than they are what we're talking about is buildings that will make you become healthy, or health sustaining is the way to put it. 0.2 and lower is considered safe.
And you're 0.3 right there.
Yep.
Okay.
Anything above 1, people will be sick. And you can be healthy, but you will become sick. 0.5 and above to 1, well, actually 0.5 is the limit that we always say if somebody is already sick.
Okay. So if you're already sick, we have a lower threshold here.
Right.
Okay.
So if you have an autoimmune problem or cancer or fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, diabetes, you name it, you got it, then you want it to be below 0.5.
Okay.
Now, I can't show you this on the camera, but look at what's below your computer. Now, this is unplugged.
Oh, yeah. I unplugged it. Yeah.
It's about 0.5 now. If it were plugged in, she'd be running about 5 or 6.
Probably so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, we walked around Dani's house and we checked her circuit breaker panel. And the circuit breaker panel was, I believe, 1.7.
Yeah, or a little more. I can't remember. Yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
Well, maybe because I have everything. I have stuff stacked and.
Yeah, trying to keep it away. The good news about it is it spikes up to about 1.4.
Yeah.
This is why laptops should not be on your lap.
Yeah, right?
But
it's a terrible name for a laptop.
But we measured behind the refrigerator, the wall, on the
Yeah.
wall, I set the refrigerator and it was like 1.6, I believe it was.
Mm-hmm.
The key here is its distance.
Okay.
So you want to make sure that there's nothing on the wall or anywhere near where somebody's sleeping.
Okay.
The other thing you will find is that black box that your computer plugs into, the adapter,
Yep.
the transformer.
Yep. Mine's
Those
right over
will
there.
typically run 7 to 8.
Wow.
Okay. And so if you have something, let's say you're at work and you've got a power strip down there at your feet and you've got all these things plugged in, your feet are going to not like it.
Wow.
So this is the biggie.
Okay.
And that is, it's called magnetic fields. It's measured with a Gauss meter and you're looking for 0.2.
Okay.
And what you want then is to get away from it.
Okay.
There's nothing you can put over it. There are people that will sell you things and say, I can put this up, and it's called new metal, and or mu metal, MU metal, or it's actually a micro U, but anyway, and they said you can put that up and that will protect you from it. It doesn't really work. All it does is just spread it out. Again, I could take my meter, I could show you it's less, but in reality, it's still there. It's just my meter doesn't measure it anymore.
Okay. That's like those mats we were talking about.
No, that's a different.
Oh,
issue.
good Lord, it's a different.
Sorry, I'm trying to
frequency.
confuse you. Is it working yet?
Yeah, it's working.
All right,
Okay.
that was my goal, is to confuse you.
So we got magnetic fields, and again, there's no way to truly block them.
No.
Okay.
If it's a wiring issue, you can get the wiring fixed.
Okay.
We find it quite often when people have put in electric garage door openers.
Yes.
And they run the wire to the garage door opener and then they run it back, and that's just a huge magnetic field source. And I love it when there's always a bonus room above it, and that's where the kids play all the time. Yeah. So.
Oh my gosh, Ella just moved into somebody's bonus room as her first apartment.
Yeah, well, she's hypersensitive, so this.
Yeah, she already is hypersensitive.
Yeah,
so I'm going to get a Gauss meter and go over there.
And it's real easy to use. Literally, it's turn it on, measure it, and the levels that you're looking for are 0.2 or less.
0.2 or less.
And if it's greater than 1, you need to fix it. And if somebody is sick, they shouldn't be exposed to anything above 0.5.
Okay, got it.
But the goal is 0.5,
it.
and it's easy to reach. In her bedroom, we got to 0.3, I think.
Yeah.
So
we did.
As long as
I have pictures to show you what I had to do to get to 0.3, but it's easy. I'm going to move my bed.
Yeah.
I mean, I was laying in the floor because my bed wasn't over there, but
which, by the way, is where your dog likes to sleep.
Is where my dog sleeps. So guys, this is fascinating. I put his dog bed on the far side of my bed every single night. It's where it is. Every night, that big old bulldog moves his bed physically. He pulls it, he moves it, he flips it over, and he gets it at the foot of my bed, a couple feet away from my bed. And that is where, when we measured my room all around, has the least magnetic fields. Is that correct? Did I say that correctly?
Except those were electric fields.
Oh, electric fields. Crap. Electric fields.
You were close.
Whatever. That has the least electric fields at that couple feet away from the foot of my bed. And that's where Harlan pulls. He doesn't pull it beside me. He won't sleep beside my bed. He sleeps at the foot of the bed, far away.
And that's the thing. Remember, dogs are social. So dogs tend to want to sleep with people and be around people. So if you've got a dog that doesn't want to get around you, pay attention to your dog. And if you've got a cat that's sleeping with you,
pay attention to your cat, because you know they are attracted to the fields.
Exactly.
That's fascinating to me, guys.
Now,
if you're fascinated by that, hit your button.
Now, all of the cats are. So if you have a tiger or you have a lion, they're the same way.
All the cats.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So, but cows and dogs tend to avoid it. So you can bring the cows inside too.
Bring the cows inside. They'll sleep at the foot of the bed. Okay. Or further away. Okay.
All right,
okay.
that's two.
So we have geopathic stress zones. We have magnetic fields.
Yeah.
Now we have
electric fields.
Electric fields. Okay.
Now, electric fields are also what comes out of the walls, the plugs and the wiring in the wall and things like that. If you live in a multifamily dwelling, they're required by law to run the wires in conduit.
In conduit, okay.
And therefore, you won't have the electric fields coming out of the wiring in the wall. But what you will have it is at every plug.
Okay. Okay. So that makes sense. But now hotels, do they put theirs in conduit?
Yes, because they're required by fire codes to do that. So every multifamily dwelling or hotels or things like that. But that's but you'll still have magnetic fields in hotels.
Okay.
Okay. Especially if you're sleeping next to the elevators or you're sleeping next to the mechanical rooms. You'll have magnetic fields. And I used to carry one of these on the old airplanes. The newer version of airplanes, thank goodness they've changed. But the old airplanes, I used to take one of these and put it on the floor, and it would read like 15, 20 milligauss. So,
oh, no. And you can't do anything about it. You can't get out of there.
Again, distance.
Distance, what are you going to do?
You throw your bag underneath your feet, you get them up off the floor.
Oh, okay.
But that's why people so often have vein issues, and they have the sensations and tingling in their feet and things like that on airplanes.
I had no idea.
But now newer airplanes are better.
Okay.
Because newer airplanes are actually wired differently, so they're not as bad as the old ones.
Okay. All right. So now
all
we're
you have to contend with is Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi, and we're going to talk about that, guys. Oh my goodness. Okay.
So now we're dealing with electric fields. Now, electric fields will come from lamps, come from extension cords. They'll come from overhead lighting and things like that in your bedroom.
Okay.
So again, distance is the answer.
Okay.
Okay. But you've got to be careful about the distance, because you can move away from one wall to another wall, and the other wall also has wiring in it.
Sure. Okay. Okay.
So here again, this is, if it's less than about 1 volt, we measure it literally with what's called a voltmeter. For those
so
of you
your
that
Gauss meter will not measure this.
Nope.
Okay. Your electrical fields.
And neither were the geopathic stress zones. So
Oh.
again, you could have somebody come in and douse and say, you're clear, everything's good, but they're only measuring one type.
One thing. So guys, this is interesting because there's not one meter that does it all. So just know that. Just like nurse practitioners and doctors, there's not one size fits all for everybody. It's individual.
So the electric fields is why we always say no lamps near the bed,
Okay.
no electrical cables near the bed,
No cords under
no
there.
cords under the bed.
Okay.
And in fact,
What about electric beds? Those beds that move up and down, those smart number beds.
oh yeah, they actually have little motors in them, so you
Yes.
actually get magnetic fields out of those.
So you get magnetic and electric
Oh,
fields.
by the way, I didn't tell you this, but if you happen to be spend a lot of time in your car,
Yeah.
and you use the electric car heaters.
Oh
thing,
yes, I love my car heater seat, my hot seat. I love my heated
lovely
seat.
magnetic field.
Oh my gosh.
It's really very creative. And hot heating pads, that's all magnetic fields.
Electric blankets, electric,
Yep.
electric mattress pads,
Yes.
all those things.
Some of those have gotten a little better, but we still find quite a bit of magnetic fields around them. But they all have electric fields. But again, remember, we're talking about long exposure to these things.
Right. So if you turn your hot heated seat on in your car to warm it up in the morning and then turn it off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now,
Don't drive 2 hours with it on.
if you have a
I've done it.
if you have a problem with your reproductive system,
Thank
I
God. I know.
wouldn't even recommend turning them on.
Oh, wow.
It takes the body about 20 seconds to go into oxidative stress. So if it's
20
exposed to it
seconds.
for that, and that's usually with communications realms that we talk about that.
20 seconds.
Mhm.
I didn't know that.
But that's how long it takes for those vibratory receptors to start going into vibration and be in resonance.
Okay. Okay.
Right.
So 20 seconds of getting exposed, within 20 seconds or so of getting exposed to whatever, a geopathic, a electrical, a magnetic, a blah, blah, blah field, within 20 seconds, we can get into oxidative stress.
Yep.
Guys, that's fascinating.
So texting, cool, because the signal's not there very long.
Okay.
You
Quick,
know?
done.
Yeah, people, if you're shooting, if you're using a remote for your television, it's instantaneous. So don't worry about standing in front of it or doing any of that. Don't sleep on your remote, though, with the button pushed all the time.
Wow.
Because, obviously it's more than 20 seconds. But anyway, that's just the thing about car heaters.
Okay.
Or heated things.
Heated seats,
Yep.
heated anything.
All right. Having said that, electric fields. Got to get back to this, Dani,
Okay.
because we got to get out of here
Oh my
tonight.
gosh. I know we've been here forever. Guys, I am so sorry. I know you guys are loving this.
We
though.
haven't even talked about cell phones, and we're about out of time.
Oh my gosh. Oh, we got to talk about cell phones. That's what everybody wants to know about.
Okay.
Okay.
So
So electric.
electric fields. The best way to deal with that, and
Uh-huh.
everybody's going to say, "Oh, that's so inconvenient. I don't want to do it." Blah 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 blah. Folks, convenience is driving through the drive-through at McDonald's to get your meals, right?
Yes, it is.
Or buying a frozen meal and throwing it in the microwave for a minute and a half.
Don't put it in the microwave. I'm sure something terrible is going to happen if you do that.
So, and you've already taken the step for inconvenience when it comes to eating. So you're just going to have to decide if this is enough to be inconvenienced by.
Okay.
But the best way to deal with electric fields and magnetic fields in the bedroom is to find the circuit breaker that controls your bedroom, the walls near where you sleep, and flip it off at night.
Okay.
Now, I suggest you definitely do that if you have babies.
Okay.
So that they're not, but make sure they're not on the second floor above the refrigerator.
Okay. And we haven't even talked about that.
Yeah, we have. That's a magnetic field.
Okay.
Or if they're not on the wall and outside the wall is a circuit breaker panel.
Okay.
So those are the things, but those are things that you want to do. I had a friend, she had 7 kids, and she would turn off the entire house at night. Okay.
Yeah, I have patients who do that.
And then she would flip it on in the morning and all the kids would wake up.
Oh, wow. Of course.
Yeah. Because all of a sudden there's a lot of noise. Now you're going to say, well, what about the heater and the water heater? Those are on different circuits than the ones we're talking about.
So find the circuit that your bedroom is on.
Now, how do you find the circuit that your bedroom is on? It takes 2 of you, one with good hearing and one with good lungs.
I've done it. And you flip one by one.
Next.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah. Okay. So once you find it, so if you don't want to manually go to your garage, because we went to my garage tonight and we which was horrible, but anyway, we went out there and did that. If you don't want to do that, you can do it remotely, correct?
Yeah, you can get these switches that are remote controlled.
Okay.
All right. And you can have an electrician put that switch in the series in your bedroom if you want to. Okay. But put it where it's in the series so that when that switch is open, just like you've got a switch on your wall that turns off the lamps. You could put a switch that turns off the lamps.
Okay.
Like you find in hotel rooms all the time.
Yeah.
And then you can just remotely hit that switch and it'll go off.
Okay.
Or you can just have a switch installed that turns that off. You're building a new house, you just have a switch. And you get up at night and turn that switch off. And it's like, well, I need to read at night. There are things called battery reading lights.
There are. Yes.
I need an alarm clock. Gosh, there's battery-powered alarm clocks.
I looked at Walmart. I looked at all of them. In fact, I was going to take a video of them, and daggone, I forgot. There's all kinds of battery clocks at alarm clock. At Walmart.
I have to have my cell phone at night.
Okay, so you got to have your cell phone at night.
And I want to know what for. I mean, are you seriously, folks? Is it you expecting a phone call at 2 a.m?
No.
I just don't get it. So
what if you put it on?
If you put
it on airplane mode.
If you put your phone on airplane mode, you're fine.
But if you don't charge it.
It's that, well, again, if you turn the power off to your bedroom, you can't charge it.
Yeah, no, you can't.
So I highly recommend that you put your cell phone in another room and you have a charging station in your house, wherever that may be.
Okay.
Apart and away, at least 2 walls away from where everybody sleeps.
Okay.
And that's where everybody charges their phones.
Okay.
Now, you want your kids off their computer at night? Well, if you turn all the electricity off to their room,
they can't get on it. Right?
Yeah, the Wi-Fi goes off. Now, their computers can still run on battery. I get that. I'm not that silly. I understand that. But, it works.
Okay. Okay, that's electric field.
That's electric field. So we got 3. Geopathic stress.
Yep.
Magnetic fields,
yep,
which are the cancer-causing ones.
Yes.
Electric fields, which interfere with the ability to communicate with each other.
Yes.
Okay. And just in case you're curious, you want a cute trick? I know I got to get into Wi-Fi, and I know y'all are curious about that.
Yeah.
But one more cute thing about cells. Cells communicate first by sending a light pulse between them. It's called biophotons. And they develop this channel, and they'll send a pulse of light between them.
Okay.
Okay. And that's how the cells will know they're supposed to be like a stomach, and we're supposed to keep all the nasty stuff out. I mean, the nasty stuff in and the other everything else out, because the acid has to stay in, and you don't have leaky gut and all that other stuff. The first thing to go away when cells go into oxidative stress is that ability to shoot that light signal. So
they weaken and they lose. Okay.
So there's the whole thing about the light of the body.
And
that's the first thing that's dis-ease, is the loss of light.
Dis-ease, the loss of light. Okay.
between cells.
I'm learning
All right.
so much, guys. And I realize I've got somebody on here who just said, and I'm watching you as I lay under my electric blanket. Carla, Carla, I like your personality. Somebody's also talking about CPAP machines, question mark. And we'll answer questions. Don't worry, we will.
Whoops. Got a problem with this. I'm going to have to leave it charged in. So see this lovely thing? Don't sleep near it.
Okay, don't sleep near that. Did you see that, guys? Okay, here we go.
See those little black things that are on there?
Yes.
All right, those are those nasty magnetic field generators I told you about.
Okay.
You know.
All right, and those are the cancer causes.
See, look at this. We're talking about 84.
Oh my gosh.
And remember,
did you see that?
0.2.
Here, show that. I'm going to fall off my bed chair, so I can't.
All right. So 94, 77, 73 over here, and this one is 211.
211? No way. How many people sit with those near them or by their bed or by their couch or what have you?
Yeah, especially at work. Isn't that fun?
No.
And then they go home and wonder why their feet never relax.
Right. Okay.
All right.
Okay, what do we got here?
Okay. This is my fancy meter to measure cell phones.
What?
Okay.
Okay.
Now, remember, no meter measures everything.
Okay.
So this basically measures 27 megahertz to 2,500 megahertz.
Okay.
Now, that's cell phone frequencies. Now, remember, hopefully you understood this earlier, that when you think about the cell phone frequency as a clothesline, okay? And that the clothesline's fine, and it's up high enough hertz, 600, 300 gigahertz range, some of them are megahertz, it depends, range that the body just ignores it. It's going so fast, those little vibratory receptors just totally ignore it.
Okay.
Until you put data on it.
Data is the devil.
Yeah, so it's like
there we go. There's my new slogan. Data is the devil.
So it's like the clothesline, and then when you hang clothes on it,
okay,
if I take the big line and vibrate it so fast that nobody can see it,
right,
then the clothes start swinging sideways, but we can see the clothes moving.
Yeah.
So the big line, if I'm a telecommunications person, I'm going to measure everything about the clothesline and say, no problem, it's healthy.
Right.
The rats don't die with this.
Okay.
But it's that secondary, which is the data transmission. So if you had your cell phone, if nobody ever talked on a cell phone, we would never have a problem. If nobody ever streamed data on a cell phone, we wouldn't have a problem.
Well, what good's a cell phone then?
Well, you can text.
Well, we can text. We can do, okay.
If all we did was text, we wouldn't have an issue.
Okay.
But now we want to stream data.
Yes, we do.
And not only that, now we want it so badly. The whole 5G thing just scares me.
Okay, so everybody wants to know about the 5G.
Okay, but do we seriously have to do all this tonight?
Should we do a part 3, guys? We can do it remotely next week, part 3, 5G. If you want to hear that.
I don't mind coming back.
Okay, I don't mind. I like you being here.
Okay,
I think it's great.
I don't mind coming.
If y'all
want
that,
back,
hit your button.
It's just that it's a lot I need to talk about, so it's another hour.
Okay. If you want that, then we'll do it next week.
We can do all the Wi-Fi and cell phones and all that stuff next week.
Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's flying up here. Everybody's interested in this.
Okay, so let's do that next week.
Okay, that's my birthday.
Oh,
so let's do it. That's my birthday week. We're gonna.
So we can irradiate her on her birthday.
Oh my gosh!
Just
okay.
I want to do one quick thing. I want to show you.
Okay.
This is the measuring device in her house.
Is it supposed to be silent? Oh.
Just thought I would pass that on.
So what's that picking up? The cell phone, the computer, what?
It's because you're streaming data.
Well, I sure am.
And you've got Wi-Fi that's streaming. So that's what all this is.
All of that noise. So that noise is vibrating through. Turn it on.
And I'm turning down the sound so that she can actually see the numbers. What we want is 0.01.
Okay, so it's going anywhere from 7, 8, 9, yeah. Craziness.
So we're looking at about
when
9,
I put my
10.
cell phone, when I put my cell phone beside it, it went up to 16.
And now it's overloaded because it's too high for the meter.
Yeah, it overloaded.
So
Okay, so somebody on here just said, Anna said, I'm going to stop letting my little one watch movies while streaming.
Yes,
She has a baby. She's got, I don't know, Anna, I can't remember how old she is, 2 or 3, maybe 4. I'm not quite sure. Yeah.
Anna, that's a brilliant move. Especially, you got to realize that her skull is not developed yet.
Yes.
I mean, skulls don't develop until you're 20 or so. And so there's very little protection for her brain waves from what's going on.
She's 3.5 years old.
Yeah.
And also, Anna, she's putting that phone probably on her lap, on her little bones, on her leg bones, on her femur, right? On her belly. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right now we can control that. And that's the issue about 5G that I'll talk about next week.
Okay.
And that is just the plethora of antennas that are going to go up, because we as a community, world, whatever, have got this stupid concept that we need to be in contact with people every foot 24/7, regardless of where we are.
Wow.
There's a couple of communities that were, when I was doing this so much several years ago, they were talking about developing phone booths. And the phone booths would be places you could go in to escape all the RF.
Wow.
So they were reverse phone booths.
Reverse phone booths.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where for people who were sick and who were, having issues and they needed to go in to get away from it all.
Oh my goodness. So
next
everybody
week,
definitely wants that. But so tonight, what can you do? A few things, right? In your bedroom.
Okay.
Get a Gauss meter. Well, go ahead.
Yeah. Get a Gauss meter.
Okay.
Okay. That's
I'm going to put the
first
link
and
up.
foremost.
Okay.
If you have animals, pay attention to what they're doing.
Okay. I never thought of that. That's great.
If you don't have animals, then pay attention to what you feel and pay attention to what your kids are telling you. Because if your kids are telling you they don't sleep well, they're tossing and turning all night long, if you've got a baby in a crib that keeps moving all the way around the crib, there's something going on there. Wow. Okay. If you put your son to bed, and I say boys because boys' brains are wired in a way that they're more metal in the boys, which is the whole left brain, right brain thing. But boys are typically more sensitive to this. It's the whole thing also why autism occurs more in boys, but we won't go there right now. But boys especially, if you put your boy to bed and he flips himself in bed or tosses and turns and all of that, his bed may be in the wrong spot.
Wow.
Okay. Build a tent for him, let him camp out on the floor and tell him how awesome it is he gets to camp in the house. Yeah. And see if that makes a difference.
Okay.
Check to make sure there are no breaker boxes, refrigerators, televisions, anything on the other side of a wall to which you're sleeping.
Okay. And
I would try turning off the breakers at night.
Yeah.
There are doctors out there that'll say, try it for 30 days. And if you don't, trust me, it's cheap.
Yeah.
Doesn't cost anything.
No, not one
thing. And there's absolutely, I don't even have to list side effects. Like they do with all the drugs on TV.
That's right.
Where they spend most of the commercial telling you why it's going to make you worse.
What's the side effect? You sleep better. You feel better. Your child.
Or you don't.
Yeah, that's right. Or you don't. It didn't cost you 1 penny.
It doesn't cost you a dime, and there's no side effects. So those are the 3. You do need a Gauss meter because you need to find out if you have a magnetic field issue.
Okay.
But pay attention to your bodies. If there's just, I don't feel good here, your body's telling you that you don't feel good there. And pay attention to your animals.
Pay attention. And they're all talking here about movies, tablets, streaming, all of that. Yeah, none of that. We really don't want to do that. And especially, I think I read it's outlawed in some countries to give babies tablets and cell phones and anything under like the age of 2 or 3, like outlawed 100%. And in Japan, I know it is.
Yeah. And one more thing, just to go this, and those of you that are in energy, all of this, but we think of our energy fields being contained within our body, and that's backwards. Our energy fields are bubbles around us with our body inside. So think of all of you, you're walking around and you've got this bubble around you. Okay. Now my point for that is your bubble will extend up to about 3 feet away from you, especially when it's high emotional.
Uh-huh.
So anything within your energy field of 3 feet is going to be impacted. And I point that out because if you're streaming on your phone and holding your baby,
yes,
your baby is being impacted.
is getting that.
If the person sitting next to you is streaming on their phone and you're sitting next to them, you're getting impacted, so is your baby.
Well, Vicki and I have a picture show. We sat in my bed together.
But she's electric, so I'm not sleeping with her.
Yeah, she's not sleeping with me, but we sat in my bed together and we held that meter. And as she got closer to me, or I got closer to her, I guess it just went up and up and up and up, together as we touched. Yeah, it's fascinating. So the little babies, as you are, if you're streaming that and the babies are right there beside you and they're getting all that energy from you.
I'm holding my baby and my 6-year-old son is sitting next to me streaming.
How many of us are doing that? Because we're multitasking and we're, it's fascinating to me. And all kinds of people are talking about electric beds on here and all that. So, yeah, I don't have an electric bed. I bought a bed after I heard Vicki unplug the electric bed. So set it where you want it and then unplug it. Okay, that's a good.
Heat your bed up with your blanket and unplug it.
Okay, unplug it. Don't just turn it off. Unplug it. Get it out of the wall.
You can turn it off. That's fine. But electric beds, the transformer is actually underneath the bed and it stays on, and so it creates fields. So you want to unplug them.
Oh, it's fascinating, guys. It's absolutely fascinating. And we're going to, Dr. Ethan Kellum was coming next week to talk. He's an orthopedic surgeon. We're going to talk about how to stay away from your orthopedic surgeon, why you won't need one. I'm going to give him a phone call tonight and tell him he's bumped off for the electromagnetic field 5G talk next week, and cell phones and 5G and all that. But listen, I want to tell you something. I was in Whole Foods, and I told Vicki this earlier. I was in Whole Foods on Tuesday. Last week we did this Sunday night service. This lady came up to me and she said, Dani, she said, I just want you to know that your Sunday night service changed my entire family 2 days ago. And I said, what? What are you talking about? She said, you mentioned briefly that when you use if you use your cell phone, does your hand tingle? Does your face tingle? Do you tingle when you use your cell phone? She said, I've tingled for years and I've had these charges for years. Hang on a second. Hold on. My computer's getting ready to go dead.
Her battery's getting low. So now we have to zap ourselves.
Oh no, I got to plug it in. There we go. So she said, I was like, oh my gosh, honey, I tingle every time I use my phone. So anyway, she says they are moving everything around in their house. They went to AT&T and they said, we don't want these phones that make us tingle anymore. And the tech at AT&T said, oh yeah, we know all about this kind of stuff, doing this. And so they bought phones. The whole family bought phones that don't have any data on it. I mean, it's just a phone.
Just a phone.
I didn't even know they made those anymore.
Yeah, it's just a phone.
Yeah, and she said so. And that, on top of that, she said, and we're moving our bedroom around and we're doing all these things. So anyway, I'm telling you, pay attention to your body. Yep.
Now remember, about 10% of the population, it's estimated, are electrically hypersensitive.
10% of the population.
So that's one out of 10. And so be especially aware of that. And for those of you that already have issues,
yes, that
are related to any kind of oxidative stress or any kind of cellular issues, odds are you're one of the lucky 10%.
Wow. Well, I tell you what, guys, I appreciate you. You show her some love because, listen, she drove. How long does it take you to get here?
Oh, it was only 45 minutes.
Oh, I thought it was a lot longer than that.
No.
Well, she lives
We're not that far out in the boondocks.
Well, to me, she lives down in the middle of nowhere. But 45 minutes, well, that's not so bad. But that's a big deal. On a Sunday night, she drove out here. Look at all these people saying, drove out here, set up at 5:30, guys, and we didn't start till 7. So I appreciate you. I mean, I really do. You have no idea. I don't understand electricity. I don't understand any of this. I'm learning more.
But you now know what high means.
I know what high means, and I totally understand that. But go and follow her Facebook page with Janetta, which is Wings of Eagles Healthy Living.
Right.
Wings of Eagles Healthy Living. Guys, you guys are a great tribe, and I want every single one of you to go over there and follow their page, like and follow it, because they do put great information up there. And Janetta, I appreciate you. She's down. And do y'all live in the same town together?
No,
okay.
We live in the same county.
In the same county. Okay. but not in the same town. Okay, so I appreciate you guys. We ran 15 minutes over, but we will answer. If you have questions, put them on here. I will answer some tonight. Vicki can when she gets back, but she has to load up all of her stuff. She brought it all in here, but I appreciate you guys. Yes, Tammy, at work under your desk, that is, and I'm thinking about my girls at work. They have all the stuff under their desk as well.
Yep.
And Allie actually has a heat mat under her desk because her feet are so cold all the time. She has a mat that she puts her feet on, and we got to get that out.
So when you get your Gauss meter,
I'm ordering my Gauss meter. I'm ordering my Gauss meter. And guys, if y'all don't have a Gauss meter, I mean, order a Gauss meter, split it. It's inexpensive, like 30 bucks.
30 bucks.
So if you need to split it with somebody, split it with your family, and then just use one Gauss meter and check it all out. But Vicki, thank you. I appreciate this, girl. We are. Oh my gosh. I am pretty electrical, guys. That's crazy. Oh my gosh. I had no idea. All right. We love you. Happy Sunday night. And we'll see you next week, which is January. Hey, guess what? I'm jumping out of, so the toxic airplane that she's talking about, I'm jumping out of it Friday, 12 o'clock. I am skydiving for my birthday. My birthday's Friday. There's 4 of us that are skydiving, and I tried to get all kinds of people to go, and nobody would go with me. So there's 4 of us that are skydiving. We're going to jump out of the toxic plane.
That's it.
Yes, I'm going to video it, so I'll show y'all the video. But Sunday night, 7 o'clock, we'll be here. Make sure you share this, and we'll see you soon. Have a great week, and unplug your bed, unplug your things.
Find your circuit breaker.
Find your circuit breaker, and let's see what we can do between tonight and next Sunday night for cleaning up the electromagnetic fields.
All right.
All right.
Cheers.
We'll see you soon.
Bye, everybody.
Cheers.